Why am I wearing safety glasses? Why do I have a cutoff wheel? Stick around and find out. Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Russ, and on this channel we talk about Jeeps and all things off-road vehicle-based adventure. So if you're into that kind of thing, make sure you stick around for this video, because some of you may know that I recently took a trip. It was actually back in July. I can take these off. Back in July, I went up to Harlan, Kentucky to Black Mountain Adventure Area as part of the ultimate off-road off-road field trip. Got to meet and wheel with some really awesome people, and man, when I tell you there are some really cool trails up there, it's no exaggeration. Big boulders, all that kind of stuff that I don't really get around here, and I will tell you one thing, I absolutely loved it. So I knew if I was going to continue wheeling like that, I'm going to have to make some changes to my Jeep. And so as soon as I got back from that trip, I called up my buddy Jeep and Bubba, Brad. I know I've mentioned him several times on this channel. Anyway, I went down to his shop at Blackberry Off-Road and I got a set of 40s. So yeah, I upgraded from 37s and the Toyo Open Country MTs, and I went to some 40-inch Mickey Thompsons. And we had to make a couple of control arm adjustments, and we had to make a couple of other adjustments, but yeah, we got just enough clearance to head out on the road, and the real test was going to be the trails. So I hit some trails without doing any kind of clearancing or anything like that, and obviously there was some damage. So yeah, here's some damage. So if you're planning on upgrading your rig to 40s, there are some things that you're gonna need to do, or at least think about, before you make that transition if you want to not damage your vehicle. So here is what I've learned. First off, these tires are massive. They are heavy. They are very, very heavy. So if you have not upgraded your axles to handle that weight accordingly, you're going to want to do that. I have full float Dana 60s that are wide from TerraFlex. So they are 8 lug, they are not 5-on-5. And yeah, they're full float, so the axle shaft isn't really carrying the weight of the tire. You might want to consider steering also as a component in that if you're going to work with it. I have the PSC Big Bore XD box or whatever, and I will be upgrading to a Hydra Assist here pretty soon. But yeah, anyway, some other things you're going to have to look at. The next thing you're going to want to consider is the appropriate lift height for the clearance that you have for both up travel and down travel. For some of you, that might mean upgrading shocks, upgrading the coilovers, or even going super fancy and getting an ORI setup. But for me, I have a 4-inch long arm kit on this from TerraFlex with the IR bushings, and I have probably about a foot or 12 inches of up travel before I hit into these fenders. And these are not metal fenders, they are plastic fenders, so it's not going to shove any kind of that force into it. It's going to rip the fender off. And I did that for a couple of reasons. One, they are cheap. They are plastic, and it's totally fine if they get scuffed up and things like that. Second, if I'm upgrading the weight with the axles and all the other kind of components, I definitely wanted to shave weight wherever else I could. The next thing you're going to want to consider is trimming your vehicle, right? Actually cutting into the sheet metal, especially the pinch seams in the rear. Some of you have to cut the front and the rear. I've actually adjusted my rear lower arms out so that they clear the front part pretty easily. But I did need to shave off some of the pinch weld in the back. It's a super common thing to do. If you just search for it on YouTube here, you'll see others. And I know that Metal Cloak actually has some instructional videos on how they do it, which is for their fender, the actual fenders. If you want to get rid of that and add more clearance, you shave a little corner off, but you also add some slots in to the rail, and you pound that in and fold it over. I don't have those fenders, but I tried that first. So I kind of want to go over that with you real quick, show you what I did, why I was wearing safety glasses and had the cutting wheel. So here we go. Okay, so you guys should be able to see that. So what I ended up doing was I ended up cutting little slots right in here, and then I hit it with a hammer. So those slots are about 2 inches up, all the way up to about right here, which is about 7 inches if I was to go vertical from there to there. And then I cut almost to, or actually right at the edge of this little pinch weld, and I kind of cut that up, and you can see what I had to do there. I know it doesn't look all that pretty, but honestly most of that is covered up anyway, but I threw some paint in there and closed up all the gaps so that I don't have any rust. Now you can obviously see the paint there, but like I said, it's going to be covered up by the fender. And guys, I know that cutting into your Jeep with a cutting wheel into the sheet metal is a little bit intimidating, and I'm not gonna sit here and say that, oh yeah, no big deal, I'll just cut up my Jeep. No, I took it very, very, very slow. I cut a little bit off, I tested clearance. I cut a little bit more off, I tested clearance, until it was just to the point to where I wasn't gonna have any issues. And I think I'm there now, but the real test is gonna be coming up in 2 weeks. I'm going to Windrock, and I'm gonna be pretty much bashing the crap out of the trails. I'm gonna have a really good time with my buddies from North Georgia, and yeah, that'll be the big test, so I'll report back to you on there about that. But if you're not comfortable cutting into your Jeep and making clearance, seek out a shop. They can do it for you. They can suggest other options for you, or fabrication, stuff like that. Anything that you need, depending on the size of the tires and the type of wheeling that you do. That's just what I've learned. So we've talked about the actual lift. We talked about the axles and being able to handle the weight. We've also talked about, you know, having to cut into your Jeep. So that's what I've learned. If you want to upgrade to 40s, just be prepared to do those things. And yeah, anyway, I hope you're living life adventurously. And until next time, I hope to see you on the trails.